It's Derek with Lucid, and today's video I'm going to be taking one of our DIY blank cut decks and doing some epoxy work with it. Basically using all of Lucid's products, the epoxy, our finish, grip, all that stuff to make a cool deck out of this blank nothing as of right now. What's really cool is we do have a few of these up on our site. We have one, and this is the 23 inch. This is the one I'm going to be doing in the video. It's a nice little fun cruiser, fits in your locker, bring it on the plane with you. A great little travel board. Step up from that is a 27 inch. Again, nice little cruiser. And we have here is a 48 inch. Awesome longboard, great surf trainer for you longboarders out there, great nose rider. Walk up and down this thing. And this is a 44 inch blank cut as well that you can use. We're just kind of working on the nose and the tail of this to kind of round it out a little bit more, but these are up on the site, check them out. My goal with this is to epoxy the bottom of the deck. What colors and whatnot, I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna do like a tri-color thing here. Something up here in the middle and the end, mix in a little bit of white. The top of the deck, I'm gonna sand out, put a nice stain to kind of go along with the bottom of the deck. Then I'm going to laser in Lucid down here, maybe with some lines in the deck, not 100% sure. That's what I'll be doing. We're gonna see how I can turn this blank raw piece of wood into a work of art. Let's get started. So at this point I already put a sealer on top and bottom of this deck, so I'm just doing a light sand to prep it for the black gloss spray paint that I'm gonna be using on the bottom. I chose black because it's really gonna bring out the colors that I chose for the bottom, the pigment colors for the epoxy. It's really gonna bring them out and make them pop. And after this black paint dries, I'm going to put painter's tape on the bottom, which makes for an easy cleanup after I pour the resin. That way it's less sanding afterwards. I'll be using the Lucid Epoxy for this part. It's a 1-to-1 mix ratio. You want to make sure your epoxy is at room temperature, and you mix very slowly. As you can tell, I'm doing it very slow here. Otherwise, you're going to induce a lot of air and air bubbles into that epoxy, which you do not want. It makes it a lot harder to get out in the final product. And for my colors, I'm using green, yellow, and kind of like a reddish pink color is what I chose for the bottom. And also I'm going to be using a white pigment as well to kind of mix into it. And here, I just like to use my hands when I spread the epoxy out. I know some people like to use like a little mixing stick and whatnot, but I feel like I get better results with my hands. I can just get in there and get dirty. And here as I'm putting the white in, kind of helps separate the colors a little bit, add a little flair to it, I guess, whatever you want to call it. And here's where I use it. I kind of overheated the resin here, and I was going for like this bubbly kind of texture look underneath. So I didn't overheat it to the point where, because you can overheat the epoxy and it just ruins it. But I just had this little slight bubble effect, so it kind of gave some texture to the bottom layer of this epoxy, which turned out pretty cool in the end. So after about 6 hours or so, I mixed another batch of epoxy. This is just going to be a clear coat on top of the one I just did. Helps add a little bit more depth and whatnot to the first layer. So after I let that dry for about 12 hours or so, it's time to get the painter's tape off. I let this set for a little bit too long with the painter's tape, so it was a little bit harder to get off. Usually I kind of get in there after 6 hours and it comes right off, but whatever, it is what it is. So it's where the sanding comes in and get all that excess stuff off and sand it out. Once I had a nice sand on the top of this deck, I got my stain ready and stained the top to kind of match the bottom. I thought I picked a decent stain color to go along with everything. So after I got the stain on the deck, I used a Lucid lacquer to put a final coat on top. And while it was still wet, I decided to use like a gold flake to sprinkle on top. I thought it would kind of add a little something to the top of the deck, give a little bit more character to it. It's not going to really show too much in the inside, but when it hits the sun, it's really going to have a nice glittery shine to it, which should, hopefully in my mind, look pretty cool. So after that coat of lacquer dried, it was time for the laser. This went pretty quickly. I just did the logo and a line down the middle. And after that was Lucid grip and assembly. And this thing will be completely done. All right, so my little art project is all complete. Taking this DIY cut blank, looks just like this when you get it, and turning it into this beautiful masterpiece right here. This actually came out a lot better than I thought. The bottom of the deck with the epoxy, I wasn't really sure at first, but I kind of grabbed some colors. They clashed really well together, mixed in some white. I did a few new techniques to give the bottom of the epoxy this kind of bubbled texture look. Not sure if you can see it in the camera. Yeah, this thing turned out really nice. The top of the deck, I did a nice stain, lasered in the Lucid logo, add a little bit of just the kind of a stringer effect to the top of the deck. Used the Lucid grip medium grip on top, and then I set it up with our Lucid 65 mil and just some traditional 5.5 inch trucks with some 1/2 inch riser pads. So make sure you check it out on our website. It will be loaded up there. You can actually purchase these decks. I have a bunch of them up there from the past. Jump on it because they're one of a kind. There's no one board alike. Although the shapes are the same, the design on the bottom is pretty much different. Now, I can try to replicate some of the designs, but they won't be exact. So if you do like something, make sure you jump on it. So hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you check out our website. We have lots of cool things up there. Boards, coastal boards. We have our DIY stuff. We have our epoxy decks. A lot of things to check out. Also make sure you check out our grip, our epoxy, our lacquer, all that stuff. Everything you need to kind of put a board together. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you in the next video.